Hey YouTube, this is Marita and welcome to another edition of the Nurse Lounge. I want to first have you look at my shirt. It says nurse with the caduceus on the bottom. Just a cute little graphic tee that I have made. Anyway, I love it. But that's not what this video is about. But anyway, this video is about nurse burnout. And nurse burnout is very much a real phenomena and it can happen to anyone. I have met nurses who they have been a nurse for about a year and they're already feeling or experiencing nurse burnout. I have seen where this one nurse she was a student of mine, and in her first year she had 7 or 8 jobs in the first year, not her career, her first year. So with that being said, we need to find ways to combat nurse burnout. And so we're going to talk about 7 tips today in which you can combat or beat nurse burnout. All right, so let me pull my camera a little bit close because I want to make sure I can see. All right, and as usual, I have notes, and so you will see me look down from time to time to make sure I'm giving you right information and make sure I'm staying on track. So number 1 is making sure you have a work-life balance. So what does that mean? So a work-life balance basically is where you work and then you have life, just like that. So when you work and you are spending all your time at work and you come home and you sleep and then you get up and go to work and you come home and sleep and you do that day in and day out and day in and day out without reprieve. That is where you don't have a work-life balance. People like me, on the other hand, I have learned to have a work-life balance. So I go to work when I'm scheduled to go to work, and I'm home when I need to be home, but at the same time in between that, I plan things or activities for me to do. So I had a girls trip to Vegas last September. I went to the beach last October. I went to the mountains for Christmas. So I plan activities, and that kind of gets you looking forward to the future when you have something to look forward to. So going to concerts, I've planned to go to a few concerts this year. I'm going to a book club meeting here soon. I'm going to hang out with some of my sorority sisters on Monday, actually. So with that being said, I have a good work-life balance. And one other thing regarding that is I have the ability to say no. I used to make sure that as a nurse, if a coworker said, hey, could you work for me on this shift? I would always go get my calendar and look at my calendar. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do it. Or even if I really couldn't do it, I would try to go ahead and do it anyway because I wanted to work and I wanted to make sure I was a good work partner and be supportive of my peers. But I have learned over the past 14 and a half years that, you know what? I just need to say no and offer no explanation. The answer is no. I sometimes would rather sit here and do nothing than to go make some money. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes you just need to rest. Sometimes you just need to rest and not be stressed. And if you think about it, that means more money in wealth, in health, in serenity and peace, and stress-free than to go make $1. I will not do anything just for $1. So I've learned that over time. Learn to say no. Number 2, make your health your number 1 priority. How many nurses have you met that they are not healthy? They drink alcohol. And I don't mean just socially. I mean they drink every night. They use drugs, and nurses are notorious for abusing drugs. We have easy access. They smoke cigarettes, things like that. They eat high caloric, high processed foods. That's my problem. They don't exercise, but yet we're telling all of our patients to do all of these things to remain healthy, or do the opposite of those things to remain healthy. We tell them don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs, exercise, eat a well-balanced diet, but yet we don't do any of it. So we have to get better with that. And me personally, I am making sure that I go work out about 3 to 4 times a week, at least I try to. This week I did not, but I will be getting back on track starting tomorrow. Self-care Saturday starts tomorrow for me. So tomorrow I'll get back on track. I do not eat a well-balanced diet. Well, I do eat well-balanced, but if I want a donut, I'm going to eat a donut. If I want some Captain Crunch cereal, that's what I'm going to eat. But at the same time, I try to make sure that I have more healthier food options in the house and not do a lot of snacking that's just pure junk food. I do like to snack as well, but I do drink plenty of water. I drink a lot of water. And that's very, very important to drink a lot of water. So be mindful. We have to be healthy. We can't teach somebody else to be healthy when we are doing completely what we are telling them, the opposite of what we tell them to do. Think about this. I remember seeing a respiratory therapist giving a breathing treatment to a patient of mine. And then 30 minutes later, I happened to walk to my car, and what that respiratory therapist is doing is in the smoking area, smoking a cigarette. Respiratory therapist giving breathing treatments to someone who is a smoker, mind you. This patient was a smoker of mine. And where he think he headed to when his body starts to shut down? In the same situation, he's taking care of this patient. So that's kind of counterintuitive, counterproductive. It's backwards. Why are we doing that? We need to find better ways to cope, basically. And that's kind of what that is. Smoking cigarettes is a coping mechanism. Eating junk for no reason is a coping mechanism. Drugs, coping mechanism. Alcohol, same thing. We need to find ways in order to combat that and cope better. Number 3, let's examine, why are we feeling burnt out? Is it because of the fact that who you're working with? Is it because you're scheduled to work 6 shifts in a row? Is it because of the fact that you have to work every holiday, every weekend? People are not rotating like they're supposed to be rotating? Is it because of the fact that you really don't care for your management? Why is it, do you think, that you're feeling this way? So it's time to have a personal discussion and reflect as to why you feel the way you feel about the situation. And once you do that self-examination as to why you feel the way you feel and kind of get to the root cause of it, try to eliminate that root cause. Number 4, challenge yourself by taking on a new role. So maybe you've been at the bedside for the past 15 years and you know what? You know that routine in and out. You know, maybe it's time for you to make some policy changes. Maybe it's time for you to move up into upper management and take that new role on. You may find that to be invigorating. You may find that to be the challenge that you're looking for. You're probably bored. So definitely looking at new roles and possibly even going back to school. I'm actually going back to school myself as a doctoral student right now. Not because I was burnt out, but because this was a personal goal of mine to have a terminal degree in nursing. So again, it wasn't due to burnout. It was just due to me having this dream or desire to have this degree. But even still, going back to school kind of helps you get you out of that loop that you're in where you feel like every day I go to work to do the exact same thing. And you feel like, am I making the impact that I need to make or am I not? And so sometimes when you feel like you don't have that self-worth where you're not making an impact, you feel guilty about how you feel. And you're like, nobody's listening to me. Nobody cares. Maybe it's time for you to go back to school. You never know. Number 5, surround yourself with positive people. You don't know how important that is to surround yourself by people who are positive thinkers, people who will uplift you. Remember this, you are the average of your 5 friends or the 5 people that you hang around the most by choice. So I'm not talking about your coworkers. I'm talking about your people that you hang around with the most by choice. Look at your cell phone. Who's the top 5 people in there that you've texted or called today by choice? That's the average of your 5. You are that average. So if everybody who is in that circle of yours is doing nothing and you're the top of that circle, they are pulling you down. You need a new circle. You need to be surrounded by people who are doing much better than you are. It gives you motivation and aspirations and hopes and dreams to achieve what they have. You need to be surrounded by people who are doing what you are doing. They kind of keep you going because you're doing it together. You need to be surrounded by people who may be not where you are, but they look to you for advice because you can pull them up. So again, surround yourself by positive people because the negativity will suck you. It will suck the soul out of you, which leads to burnout. Number 6, find an outlet. So this kind of ties into your work-life balance, but definitely find something or someone in which you can vent to. You will find that nurses are notorious for venting to other nurses. Why is that? It's because nurses understand. Have you ever tried to talk to your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend about what happened at work today, and they're just like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But then they don't really get it. You know, you need somebody like, yeah, I know what happened. That happened to me too. And let me tell you what I did. That's what you want to hear. Sometimes you don't want to hear anything. You want somebody just to vent to because you want them to listen. You don't have to respond. You just want them to listen. Someone who can empathize and sympathize with what you're going through. So sometimes your best people to hang around or to be your outlet for you is people who are like-minded, like careers. So I even have a friend who, we don't have the same career, but we have the like mind, and we're both in healthcare in essence. So we kind of understand each other's roles, so to speak. I have another friend who, we both are nurses, but she does a different kind of nursing than I do. So, you know, she'll explain to me what she's going through, and you know, I'll explain to her what I'm going through, and we can still kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how that could be a problem. We're there for one another. So you need an outlet, a physical or a person that you can talk to let off some steam. Or maybe you can go to the gym and let off some steam there. Or maybe you need counseling. Nothing wrong with counseling. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. And maybe you can pay somebody to listen to you. So we have to have someone that we can definitely be an outlet for us. And then number 7 is consider new options. So have you thought about the fact that maybe this hospital or clinic that you work in is not the place for you? It's toxic. It's a toxic environment. Every time you go, you start getting symptoms of like headaches and stomach aches and diarrhea, or you're throwing up when you were just fine the day before. Anybody happen to anybody? What about the depression that happens before you go to work the day before? So you've been off for 4 or 5 days and it's time to go to work tomorrow. So what happens today when you're planning to prepare for work? You go through a mild depression where you're kind of like, you know, you start thinking about it and, you know, dreading going to work the next day. It may be time for you to get you a new outlet, not outlet, a new option. Outlet too, but option. So maybe it's time to change environments. If you have a toxic environment and you need to go to an environment in which it's more refreshing, they're more appreciative of your help, of your work. Maybe you're going to a facility that does have techs, and where you come from, they didn't have techs. So it relieves some of the burden and the stress from you. Maybe you work in a facility now that has a team nursing approach instead of you doing everything. Like, well, that's what I'm used to, doing everything. And you find relief from that. Sometimes going to a new place and having other options is so important to relieve stress burnout. So hopefully these 7 tips have been beneficial to you. It has helped you understand that nurse burnout is real. It has given you some tips that you could utilize in your practice to minimize nurse burnout. And one thing I did mention, which I didn't really want to mention, but it may be plausible for some people, is for your number 7, considering new options, is you may need another career. Maybe nursing is no longer for you. I hate to say that because I love my career. I love what I do. But we need to be realists here. I'm very much a realist. I'm not an idealist. That's one thing I always say. I'm a realist. Sometimes it's time to go ahead and put the stethoscope down and move on to another career option for you, if that's what needs to happen. Because at the end of the day, we have to take care of our patients, and we cannot do no harm. That is the Hippocratic Oath. However, nurses cannot do any harm either. Okay, so with that being said, you want to be mindful that if you are no longer caring about your patients, you could care less what happens to them, you are not being safe in your practice, then it may be time for you to move to another career. But again, I hope this has been beneficial and instrumental to you. Hopefully you can take these tips and relieve yourself from some of the burnout, or prepare yourself for what's normal in nursing in terms of burnout, and kind of try to govern yourselves accordingly. If you are new to my channel, this is the first video that you have seen, welcome to the Nurse Lounge. Please subscribe while you're here. There's plenty more videos out there on nursing and other things if you happen to be interested in beauty and fashion. But if you are an old person who is here, thank you so much for your continued support. I really appreciate you and want you to continue to watch my videos. If you could please hit that notification bell so that you will know when I upload another video. Until the next time, you all, take care. Bye-bye.